Hey everyone, welcome to the Blue Room Podcast, an intimate space where we explore ourselves, our lives, and our relationships more deeply through therapeutic conversation. I'm your host, Fantasha Thompson. I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you. Today I have a dear friend of mine, Dr. Makena. She's here with us. We're going to have a great conversation. But before we get into it, I'll let you introduce yourself. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
And thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor to be in this space, to be here with you as a friend, as a guest, a speaker. It's quite an honor to be invited to participate in this world of yours that you've cultivated for us. So I'm Makena Mbogori, originally from Nairobi, Kenya. I've been in Halifax, Nova Scotia, just about 2 years now. It's been an interesting journey for sure.
Yeah.
Work-wise, as I always say, my Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, actually currently specializing in sports medicine and extremity surgery. That's my passion. That's what I like to do. And amongst many other things that I do after 5 p.m. on weekends. Yeah, so that's pretty much a lot about me now. And then later,
Yeah. No, Dr. Makena, and I just want to let folks know how we met. I met you through a mutual friend, yeah.
yes.
And one day I was at her house and we were just like hanging out and you came over and you were just like the thing that I noticed first is just how full of life you were. Like you were just joking and dancing and like just talking and engaging like we knew each other for years. And I was like, who's this girl? And then like you did just like sat next to me and you just started telling me about yourself, like how you were from Kenya, and you started asking me about myself. And then, like, I feel like from that moment, like you just always created space for me to just like vent. And I feel like I don't know how you do it, but you just ask the right questions, or you just have this like aura about you that like I just start to vent with you and telling you all my business. And you're like, yeah. Like, really, like, tell me more. Like, what happened? Like, where did this start? And it was like, you were just so welcoming and open and receiving. And then, like, we would go out and have a good time and dance and, like, have drinks or whatever. And then I find out you're a surgeon. And I'm like, I don't know any surgeons or doctors that are literally like this cool and hey, now, what you doing now? And, like, also, yeah, as my black, also being a woman, like, I'm just so fascinated by you and just like honestly how you live life. That's the honest truth that and we were yeah, like we were lucky enough to go on a whim to New York, like on a weekend whim and it just core memories. Like I've done this for sure. I know. But you just like own everything that you do, like whether you're walking down the street or eating a meal or taking a photo, like you're just 100% in everything that you do, and it's inspiring.
Thank you so much. First of all, how do I come that aspect? But like, is that how it actually looks on the outside? Because I appreciate you and I feel very validated. I also think that. And it's good to see what I think I'm doing from the eyes of someone else, but I do, just like anyone else, have a lot of doubt. So the one thing I will maybe introduce us, and I don't think I've actually told you before, but my name Makena in my native language from back home, actually a combination of a couple of tribes. Makena means joyful.
Well, that fits perfectly.
And I feel like, I don't know if it was because of the name, I just became the way or I was named because, oh, the personality that my parents maybe envisioned for me. But I think from childhood, I was always just a go, or like out and about, like a noise maker, like just full of energy.
Yeah.
This is something that I probably got in trouble in school for. It can be the one chatting over there all the time. And I think about my mom would say, if you like, she took her eyes off me for 1 second, market, I'll be gone. Like, I'll make friends with anyone, and like, running around like I was a half-old child, yeah, like on my cave all the time because of the site, all of it. And so from other side is yeah, learn how to see. And I feel like part of that has discontinued, yeah, to manifest it. Of course, the older you when you grow up in life, and I don't think that's what you said. Like try to think about or like society, maybe you're a bit different than anyone else, or are you doing too much? Am I doing too much? Like those are kind of thoughts that always circled in my mind when I experience what people see me as. Yeah. And for at some point I was starting to like that am I too much? Is that too much? You know, everything we explained and sometimes maybe to someone else being a lot and too much. But then I got to a point and I was like, you know what, this is I was literally from day one like so this is kind of who you are. And the ones who appreciate it and the ones who like it are with me all the time and the ones who don't. And it's fine. It's not I'm not everyone's cup of tea. You don't wanna be. No. And the idea of the doctor bread, like that's why I keep saying it's Monday to Friday 9 to 5, right? So that's what I do. It's not entirely who I am. Right. And not just me, but a lot of physicians, a lot of doctors and a lot of surgeons but also have other lives. Right. Society has made it that we are and we do good by you. We do the work that we do that is put out. Yeah. Not just and any other work as well, like teachers and ceremonies and security, like everyone's job and role in society is so important. And so is ours. So of course maybe then society has this perception of how, you know, it's supposed to be. Like absolutely act and carry ourselves and at work for sure. Yeah. You know, we're dealing with quite sensitive aspects. So there has to be ethics involved. There has to be, you know, confidentiality and respect and like, you know, in that space for sure. But then outside that space and outside that environment, then I'm just me. And I'm just like doing me and being the best version of myself because I'm the only one who can do that in this time and in this earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like it's so funny how we view ourselves, like compared to how others view us all the time. But I feel like when I look at you, like there's no box that like we can place you in. Like your friends, you're nobody. Like you're just by being you, you're just showing what's possible, and you're just showing that it's okay to show up in all these spaces, like being who you are, like being like a doctor, being like, educated, also being Black, also being a Black woman, also being, Kenyan, but like living in Canada, like you are fully embracing like all of these different aspects, which is like so inspiring. And as funny as yes, my daughter, Ama, her given name by my mom is Zina. Okay. And Zina means bliss. Yes. And she is exactly how you specifically off to you, like younger, like if you take your eyes off her for 1 second, like she's gone. Yeah, she's the Kwame will stay next to me, but Mama, she's like, I want to see, I want to experience, I want to talk to people, I want to be social. Like I'm gonna go home with strangers, and I don't. But it's just no concept of who her family is. She's like, everyone is my family. Like she's like, it doesn't matter. And I know she's like experiencing the world like in fullness. But I can probably understand how your parents are like, oh my God, like this girl, like anything could happen. So like, when I know these, but I don't think it has ended. I think even now in my 30s, there's still always just like, where are you? What are you doing? Not doing like I just kept kind of moving. And the good thing I would say my parents and family have been a great support system because they kind of just let me be who I was. Even in the face of like society, maybe like school, especially like being told like she's too much, she's too jumpy, she's too and maybe yeah, to some extent obviously in a school environment there has to be some control, I'm sure. But like I think they always just believe in me and just let me kind of just flourish and let me be the social guy. And because you can only be like the only one thing I say that you can consistently do and be every day is your true self. Right? The minute you start trying to be what you think other people, it's not even what they actually want you to. It's what you think they want. Right? Yeah. Then that's not consistent because you don't even know what that is. Right?
And we are dynamic human beings are dynamic. We keep changing. Like what you like today, tomorrow, and you will allow it to change. But the thing that change, if you're changing your space, which was what it was, which your life and your purpose or your identity, then you just then that's what just creates confusion. You're not sure. But when you're just even being fully in yourself, you're not always 100% sure, right? I'm here. I brought myself here. I came to Canada. I did all the research. I found myself. I literally was just letting my people know I'm back.
Yeah.
And of course, I got here. And of course, there's new challenges that I face. And there's all new. The weather is amazing in Canada. So it's a very new environment, new system, especially very whole new environment. So of course, that comes with its different challenges, and I have to deal with that, right? But if this was not my 100% plan to come here and do it, if someone else said, like, made me come, like, personally, this is what you're supposed to do, right? Those challenges have been much, much more than when it was my entire, like, vision. And I'm just like, you what? I'm here. I chose to be here. Let me do it. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, that is a whole entire word, like in itself. Like if you are going into situations being anything other than yourself, it makes it so much more harder. Like your job is just to be your authentic self in all these situations and all these challenges in front of all these people. And I think that that's what allows people to be successful in whatever they do. Because if we're showing up and as anybody else, you're right, it's consistent. And it's stressful. And it's like, how do I have to act in front of, maybe like this person or this person or whatever.
It's changing.
It's changing and you lose your own identity by doing that. I think a lot of us have experienced that for sure, but that is such a word, and how like much more freeing things are and experiences are, like when you are just being yourself. You don't have to think twice. There's so much I want to get into as far as like you coming from Kenya, your journey to like be a doctor and just like life in general. But before we start the conversation, I want to pull from this deck. So
Okay.
usually, when I have guests, and I haven't had in-person guests in a while. We used to do in-person all the time and then switch to virtual. And then today Makena was just like, I want to like come over to your house and do this in person and have lunch. And I'm like, perfect. This is great. So we're gonna pull a card, and these are like conversation cards. So you can pull in whatever the question is. I don't know if this is the right rules, but I'm not sure to answer for yourself. And then I'll pull and then I'll answer for myself. But then it's be cast the same question. It's
Sounds good. Okay, I'm ready.
So I will let you look. Okay, you can pick from the top or middle, right after you want.
I'll take it. Let's go ahead and read it.
Yeah. Oh, no, not that one. You just did that one last. Okay, I also have a problem. Okay, so let's shuffle the best. Let's shuffle the first. I know a few times folks are like, you need to start throwing these cards away when you use them. Okay, they don't know where I place them. And then we keep refilling with the same card. It's just, oh, sure. 100%. Today's literally my way to the over my way up this. Let me shuffle. Okay. You get to pick which next. Okay. Hopefully it's when we have a poll. That's it too. We have a little bit. We can be sure you go like, you're going. Okay. So what is something that you never want to forget? What is something that you never? Okay. My ability or my strength or ability to get myself any situation, right? I've been through several, just like anyone else, like health and mental, emotional, like turmoils and like bodies when you literally feel like that's it. It's the end. You're hit rock bottom and everything. The one thing I know is that I have survived 100%.
so far my track record is surviving 100% of all my, downloads, all my dips in life, of all the negative experiences I've had. I've actually survived through them, learned through them, and I'll start with it. The one thing I never ever want to forget is how much I've been able to go through already as I keep going through the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As life continues to get shittier.
Yeah.
So those situations don't ever stop.
No. And even the more I speak to my older cousins, aunties, like you still have the same
Right.
cycle of good times and bad times and good times and bad times all through the end.
Yeah.
The only constant is how you deal with it, how you're able to move. So being able to trust yourself that, you know what, I don't even know what's coming forward, but I trust that I'll be able to make it through just the same way I have 100% of the time made it through so far.
Yeah.
That's the one thing she did.
And I think that's a beautiful reminder. And similar, I ran into one of my friends in the bathroom one day at an event, and she's a therapist, and she's like, I think she's like mid-40s or close to 50. I can't remember it anyway. But she was just telling me how she's still healing childhood stuff as a therapist, and also as someone who is older than me. Like she's like 45, whatever. And she's like, I just thought that the healing would be done by now. Like I'm almost 50 and I'm still working through the same stuff. And I was just actually so inspired by that, because I was like, okay, like people are still, like, I don't feel as much pressure to like figure it all out. Like people are still figuring it out. People are still going through stuff, but just like you said, that we made it through a lot of stuff.
And we're just a lot, 100%, 100%. And it was tough. We're still here. We're still standing. So we made it through 100% of everything. So that's like a pretty good track record. And if there's anything that's 100% sure, other than the fact that we made it.
And it's crazy to like think, because there was stuff I thought for sure was gonna finish me 100%.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it's gonna get worse than this, I don't want it. Like, that's it. You're in me now.
That's like the picture now.
I know.
So sit here, living life, enjoy, keep trying, going.
That's the only thing that we broke. And that's the only way that we age. And even like people that cut, marriages that are like 30, 40, 50 years, like ask them. They will tell you the problems and the stuff. Wow. And I'm like, how do you stay together? They're like, with problems. You will not stay together without a problem.
Oh, like exactly.
Yes, you have to keep going through it. Like nobody's life is easy, and nobody knows how to go.
Well, no one. That's another. That's it. But no one actually knows. And the minute I realized that, and then I was like, okay, then let's just go. Like, let's do this. Like, if no one actually knows what's happening or what's going on, then who's to say that I'm wrong? Like, what I want to do. Nah. It feels right to me, then I'll do it.
True. That's true. So I like that. I like that.
The past I can move the crap. Yeah, say what?
Yes. Okay.
We're to the things like put it here.
Okay. Good job. This one's also way back. Okay. In 5 words, describe how you think others perceive me. But I guess since I'm asking this myself, like in 5 words, how do I think people perceive me? I think people perceive me as like unfazed, ambitious, 5 words, jeez.
It's ChatGPT when you need it.
Like, honestly, AI, what do you think of me? They come like the self-care queen. And people assume sometimes that I really think that I have a lot of things figured out. And this is just from conversations that I've had with people recently. Like I went and got my brows done recently, and I was in there with like two like amazing women that also do brows, and they're like, "Yeah, your Instagram is so inspiring. Like, it just makes me want to like get up and like take a walk." I'm falling apart. Like, you guys don't understand.
That's that we might like I said to you, once they say you five things is so do you do you agree with the fact that you think people perceive you as? Like how do you create with those perceptions? Like what do you kind of start mentioning about the one the number five one?
Like the calm, yeah, and things like that. I think I present that way, um, because I'm not like I don't react externally. Like I don't like shout it every day, even though I'm super excited. I know that's framing. Like I have very contained of emotions.
No.
But it's because it's all processing internally. So I feel internally like super fiery, like super just like, you know, just all the emotions. And then I think that's also where my ambition comes from because I can channel it through like business and through like creative stuff. But I don't think people are wrong. I think when people say like, call it the self-care pain, I have to be so intentional about it. Like that had to become a practice that I made a priority, and I don't compromise on it because I haven't taken care of myself for probably 30 years, like my entire life. Like, yeah, it's only within I'd say probably within maybe the last 5 years that I started like really, you know, practicing wellness. And I used to do wellness wrong. Like, as far as weight loss and going to the gym and eating healthy, I took it to the extreme because I was so overweight growing up and I was just restricted and I did all that stuff. So I started my wellness journey like toxic wellness. And then I was like, that's not really wellness. But lately, like I've just prioritized it, and now maybe I am a little unfazed because I feel like if I have a lot of deadlines or if I have a lot of demands on me, like I can be mentally stressed about it. But I'm also the type of person that's like, no, like it's not, there's just things that are not gonna get done. I'm only one person. Um, and I might upset some people in the process, and it'll bother me too. Like I'll be like, what, that sucks that I can't meet all these expectations. But I'm very much like, this is all I have for the day. We're gonna have to figure this out another time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's an intentional practice. That doesn't mean that I'm necessarily like, happy that I had to do that. But also like without those boundaries, like the demands will never stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we only have other than Beyonce. And we all have just 24 hours nothing, right?
True.
And you can only get done what you get done. And you can do things one at a time. I really appreciate the unfazed vibe, but that like for me, I'm super overwhelmed myself and
Yeah.
almost run myself. Right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely the opposite of unfazed. So life is like I have the phase all the time. So that's it. I'm like tell that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to just like prioritize and not be like running my cortisol levels and anxiety levels up like all the time. Yeah. So
Your body will show it. And I think I'm starting to really understand that as far as like inflammatory conditions, like certain skin stuff that bumps up or to certain imbalances in my body, like I can tell when I'm not taking care of myself well, and you really have to be self-aware of that stuff. And if we're not intentional about our own wellness and self-care, nobody cares. No, like your boss, your kids, your parents, like your friends, they're not gonna be like, hey, like, I think you need a break. They probably should, do all these things. Like, you have to be the one And by the time, if they do notice, it's probably too late. Like, if you're starting to show external symptoms, like, you've probably caused the burnout line.
Okay.
I need to be able to, I think we need to be able to know, like, first, because you have to self-aware and figure out, like, so if something is, but why am I being bothered by all this thing? Does not, like, just be bothered. It's ideal done and said, why, what is bothering? What is disturbing me? Like, I'm able to look internally. Because if I said, you're the first person who wants to know it. Yeah, so you have to be able to recognize it's up. They're not just like kind of move through life, just like thinking, the acting a victim or being a victim. Yeah. Life, but then actually like taking a step back and like, okay, so why? So what is bothering me? Number one, why am I letting it bother me this much? Or why am I letting it get to me? And what can I do? If it's something that you can, like eliminate completely, then do it. If it's something that you cannot, how do you cope with it? Then have something. That's true. Yeah, like I wish I could take work out of my life. Don't we all? I'm believing it. Yeah, I found that you set those boundaries that work so that you're not finding yourself fit. And like my kids, I love them. But like they're a lot to manage, and I love having them in my life. How do I manage like caretaking and motherhood and nurturing without running myself? Then like there's things that we can't cut out of our life, but you're right. We have to figure out whether how to deal. And I think I like prioritizing, right? So certain um things, people, times, like they have to prioritize number one yourself. Like that's I'm not a mom yet. I don't have that like experience, but in motherhood, from what it looks like, you give yourself future 100%, and I get, but that you have to have something to give. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So if number one, don't so prioritizing yourself, number one, will automatically and inadvertently prioritize the people that are important. So your kids will, your partner, your family, will automatically be prioritized because you cannot be happy, chilling, self-care when the mom or someone is having a problem, right? So like it's not, it won't work. Yeah. I was like, once you're okay with like you prioritize yourself and you're happy, healthy, and not just physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, then the people who are important in your life will also be prioritized. Like it's part of you. It's true. And then everything else now comes under that, like your work and career and ambitions there. I think that so it's I think the priority and being able to plan also steps today and what needs to get done 1, 2, 3 and there's so many planners out there, online and everything. I am not really radical. I'm having doubles, yeah, I don't say even you do better than me. I'll write it down and then I'll not. So I might as well not write it down. Something helps me. Right, so work in progress. I can't is like the theme of. I'm like trying to do that. Yeah, absolutely. I feel that. What do you think 5 words that would describe yourself if you can 5 words of people would just describe you? Me, okay. I think people think I'm confident. I am happy-go-lucky social butterfly. Um, people think I'm smart, and intelligent. I think people think I do not have things or let things happen easy, or I get things like lucky or get things easily. That's what I think. What I think people perceive, and then 5 is I think uh perceive me as kind of just go with the flow kind of thing, right? From someone who's kind of easygoing or like easy to talk to kind of thing. And like to kind of reflect back on what I think people perceive me as is that I go through kind of the same things and same struggles and same day-to-day issues that everyone does, right? I may my kind of personality is not maybe one to show it all the time. I'm a typical type A kind of personality. Don't know how to ask for help sometimes, and kind of just like sit with my stuff and deal with it. So it may not come out. So it may seem like I have everything figured out and I know what's happening, but
too much. Yeah, there's like fires and fires and fires all the time in my mind. And it's and I would prefer if someone was to like engage, like maybe have conversations like this and even understand rather than just assuming this person is like this and they have everything figured out, so I can't even relate to them. Once you come down and we are at the same level, then we can relate and understand, like, bro, the more we discuss, the more I understand you, right? You understand me more. And this even just like breaks barriers when it even comes to things like racism and sexism and like different social classism and everything, right? So you have this perspective of what people from a certain region or a certain community are like or speak like, perspective based on not even like your experience, but based on what you see on TV or social media and whatever. Until you sit down with someone and like actually like have a conversation with them, like normal human interaction, then you can come and realize like you thought you knew everything, you thought your way of life is the right way, but it's not. There's a whole other way that life is lived. Right? I know I kind of got in tangent, but like it's that kind of getting to know someone straight before you make a conclusion.
Yeah.
And I think like human beings naturally, you will make a conclusion on someone. I feel like our brains are designed to really categorize information into like data points.
Yeah.
So that you see someone, you have to place them somewhere. You have to place them somewhere. And that's like a natural, I think, process.
Yeah.
But that somewhere cannot be like engraved and rooted completely forever, right? Because of how your brain coded them for the first time.
Right.
And they should be something that's flexible and be able to, okay, once you interact with it or once you hear something else, you should be able to move it around so that it's not just rooted in kind of like one thing.
Yeah. Otherwise, and there was a quote that said like, it's like a true sign of unintelligence. Yeah, if you receive new information but you don't change your perception and like that, and that's the truth. Like if you think the sky is purple and I show you that it's blue, but you still are making it as purple,
Yes.
then it's not good. Exactly. Also like perspective. It's also lived experiences. Like there's so many like complexities to like the human experience that I think, like you mentioned, just like bringing ourselves down to the human that's like outside of like the class or the neighborhood or the income and the experience, like just to the core of like who we are. Like that's where like the true connection, the like relatability. And you brought up a question in my mind, like I'm like, I guess everybody's really putting out fires like 24/7. So like how do you cope with that? Like what do you do? Like what's your self-care? Like,
Wow, that's an interesting question because I sometimes I don't think I am coping, but I'm just like what is doing. So I have a very good support system of friends and family, both back home and here in Canada as well. I feel like that has been like one of my biggest flexes since I arrived here is just cultivating and forming a group of friends who have become family. Not to replace my family back home, but like to now be my family here. Right. So that being able to just like pour into them and then pour back into me at like on a whim at any time. I know day or night to midnight, whatever time zone, whatever there's always someone I feel I can reach out to. That's kind of one of them. The other one is self-reflection. So I try and different days come with different coping mechanisms. So like depending number one, for all the ladies will probably understand this, depending on the day or the cycle.
yeah.
There's when the cycle is on a good day, then you can sit down and like write down your problems and like, try and figure them out. Like even the coping mechanism is easier just by yourself.
Yeah.
And then there are those crazy days, those few days before they happen. Exactly. When you like nothing. I have nothing you can do, nothing. Every day, not rational. No, it's just like it's not happening.
No.
And it took me a long time to figure out that like there's hormonal aspects of it. So on kind of those days, I just give myself grace. Yeah. Now those are the days I don't expect if it just showing up what I need to do. Then they just give 2%, but I showed up. I did my best. Even if it was 2%, I'm okay with that. And then on the good days, on the super like I'm 150% there. So I try and self reflect as much as possible. And then it gets it very sense try. And kind of like last but not least, I'm an extrovert. I like hanging out with people. So socializing is a big effort. Hang out with friends, going out, going dancing, listening to music, anything that like a lot of like positive energy vibes that will help me kind of calm down the gas of my coping.
So it's you bring it to the table for sure. Um, let's go back a bit, and I want you to share, um, just like your journey, like what, like you're from Kenya, like you were born there. Can you like share a bit about like that journey, what it was like growing up, and that how you got into medicine or ask the proper term.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it just well not that much of an interesting story. I think when you're kids and your kids, ask them what do you want to be when you grow up. Yeah, that's a question that's thrown around all the time.
Yeah.
And I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a top at work. Like
Yeah.
so for me, like it just started that way. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a doctor because it was like the cool thing or the thing that kids say.
Yeah.
And it just kept going. So I kept going, what is the one you want to be? I want to get up there. Like I feel like some people have really more interesting stories. Like, probably they had a family member who was sick and then that kind of inspired them, or there's a specific doctor who like inspired them. Not to say that I have not had those experiences, but like for me, I think it was just like yeah, I just knew. And I kind of just aligned my life, my subjects, my school, and they also just kind of aligned themselves. But like even in high school, I was more into the sciences.
Right.
Like, you mean math, chemistry, biology, physics, any day, I was good. Like the humanities, languages, I kind of struggled with those, right? So things kind of just fine.
Right.
And then so I went going to medical school in Nairobi. So in Kenya, you go right from high school to medical school, but you don't need an bachelor's degree. So your medical degree is your undergraduate degree.
Wow.
And then going into surgery, I thought like that was just I actually went into medicine thinking I was gonna be a pediatrician.
Okay.
Because I love kids.
Yeah.
Right. So when I soon realized that loving kids and being a pediatrician, two very different like okay. So
What do you mean? Like
I love kids. I love like I from babies to kids. I just like I get along with kids.
yeah.
So but like being a pediatrician and like treating kids is a whole other entity because we can identify the illnesses, we need to do the parents, right? We need to it's a bit like it's very different than just liking kids and be like being around them. Right.
Yeah.
Rather than like putting out applying the science and applying right. So there's many specialties in medicine and you kind of like different varieties will probably like very different things. And this is much because I love children. I did not like pediatric practice was not I soon realized that very quickly and was more so surgery is a very hands-on kind of direct is a problem. You can visibly see it. You need to either cut it out or trim it away or like fix it or that's like the problem. It's a problem that you can see and fix kind of immediately and not like just for my brain and for my personality but the results.
Tangible.
Yes, exactly. And you kind of see the results like like orthopedic specifically, which is like which is bones and broken bones and joints and stuff. So someone can have the bone broken, have an accident, they can't walk. We fix it, and in 2 days they walk. Like you can actually see a result kind of that. So that was my passion. So I do all my training in Kenya. That's my vibrate training and residency training, orthopedic surgery.
How many years was that?
So 5 years of medical school. 1 year mandatory internship in like community service kind of thing. So that's 6. And then I went straight into my residency. That's 5 years of residency here in and 11 this is on all in Kenya. All this was in Kenya. And without going too much into like the healthcare system of my country, is that I just wanted to kind of experience a different healthcare system. After spending 11 years there, I just was looking for something different. And that led me to kind of start looking for what's the next kind of careers. And that's how I ended up.
You came to help.
Yes, and I came to Halifax first. And then, which is also kind of more training because now you're subspecialized in orthopedic surgery, right? So you're a general orthopedic surgeon, then you specialize in like mass sports medicine. Upper extremity. So there's front and there's spine surgery and there's hand surgery, right? So you don't become more specialized in one area. That does not all take away from the fact that you're a doctor first, then an orthopedic surgeon, then a subspecialist.
Okay. Yes. So you can do the surgery.
Pretty much, like technically yes, but the more specialized you go, you end up kind of doing more of what you specialize in, because that's just kind of what you're better at, and there's someone else who's better at something.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you want the one who's the best.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, like I mentioned actually a journey from Kenya to Halifax and um just the education piece. Was it recognized when you came here? Did you have to like recertify? Were you able to jump right in to
Yeah.
like specialized training?
Yeah. So, but interestingly enough, it was and it is recognized by China from Kenya for a training position as well here, right? So not necessarily practicing independently, but the subspecialty training, if you're in a trainee position, you can do that with right? If you want to now further that into independent practice, where I actually now see the patients independently and not in a training position, then I had to, or you have to engage with the local examinations.
Okay. What's been like your experience like going through school in Kenya, living in Kenya, getting your education and coming here into like our healthcare system and then just doing the training again. It's just the system in itself. Like what are like things that you really like just like struck you or maybe surprised you?
Well, so we had this again perspective when you're coming from like back home, you're going to Canada, it's supposed to be kind of the more idealistic, or like everything is done the right way.
Yeah.
And I got here, and in the most part, yes, the practice and the work that we do and the how medicine is practiced here is the ideal, because of our organizational structures, and proper funding, and all that, which sometimes lacks back home. It's an unfortunate truth, but it's true. Like I remember the things that struck me is, bigger as well of the healthcare system, obviously. So things like wait times, I never really had to like think about wait times, but it can actually be quite stressful, like to wait a long time to get a surgery or like any care. You do get it for free. So that's like the other Canadians healthcare is free, which is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's anyone who can actually afford fully to take care of healthcare is expensive. Yeah, healthcare is super expensive. So there's no one who can actually fully afford to pay. So the fact that it's available, a good quality, high quality, actually one of the highest in the world, but you have to wait for it. And so that's one of the things that kind of struck me. And first, they kind of realize there's no grass that's greener. Like, if you're thinking, oh, that's perfect, everything. There are some challenges. Of course, they've been amazing, like discoveries and learning everything. But like, that has been one of the changes. And also, a good thing though that I experienced is that what we learn kind of back home, like the medicine, and that's a good thing about medicine, is that it's the same content, okay, same. Right. So they will not have no, like it's a whole different, yeah. And so whatever I knew is the same thing I needed to know. It's just like just a bit differently, just want to get a bit more availability of resources to actually implement what we learn.
Right.
But it's the same content, right? So that, which is I think a good thing about medicine.
That's true.
Equalize and everything all all true.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Like how did you find like integrating like with like I just think of you as like a Black woman in the healthcare system, right? And these are like conversations that we're always having with also being in healthcare, like just because we don't see ourselves represented as much. Like, was that ever something that came to your mind, or are you just like, I'm here to do my work, like it doesn't like affect me, or
Oh no, certainly does. And so specifically orthopedic surgery as a practice worldwide, number one has always been an old boys club. Right. Yes, like always, even from back home. I think only in the past 7 to 10 years is I've had female orthopedic surgeons actually in training. So all your mentors, all your teachers, all the lecturers, all the professors are male, like 4 generations. Professors have one.
yeah,
And it's not any different coming here, number one.
yeah,
And then obviously being a female, that was also a new addition, I think, in the and the system was working.
Right.
I didn't care when you and cross like it just crossed your mind. I lost my mind. I was like it lost my mind, but I did not let that phase.
Yeah.
Like it's the one thing I cannot do anything. Cross fixed burden. I can't change my
Right.
I can't change it. So I feel like I'm kind of one of those people. Like if I can't do anything about it, like okay, let's just move, right?
Yeah.
So I think coming, I was like very oblivious, I would say, and to what like to expect coming in, which I know fair enough, it's a new environment.
Yeah.
And I kind of came in and started, and largely it was never the partner I feel like. And I think also because I never had it in my mind so much, even if stuff was thrown in my direction to the biases and everything, I only would only realize it like maybe days later. It's like that's supposed to be like, like was that unconscious bias? Was that like a microaggression? But I don't know because I just kind of like move, that energy of my mouth telling you just goes.
Yeah.
I just kind of first jump leap before I kind of think too much. Sometimes I kind of overthink sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think because I didn't like have it like right in the center of my mind.
Yeah.
Like this is the only way they see me.
Yeah.
I would only realize it maybe much later, like at the moment of fun. So I feel kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I feel like that has helped. That has been a big like felt it. I've become more sensitive to it now than not I used to at the end I realize it because it does exist. So elevation, the disparities and all that. Yeah. But there's a whole like conversation for another day. But like it does exist. And there is much more awareness about it now. There's a lot of conversation. There are many associations. Right. Diversity is actually part of like everyone's mentality, and not just and just even if all that work is happening, there's still lots of people who still don't buy into it. Yeah. They may not be as crass or as forward as it used to be in the past. Like there's certain language that doesn't exist anymore in the like
Right.
the original being a very old boy stuff before, but they're very like misogynistic space.
Right.
With comments, arbitrary comments, that kind of thing. Like in that space, I feel like people that think better now, like more like chill and everyone like should be like safe space for everyone.
Yeah.
Not that we don't like talk out and have like looking into some relationships, that's fine. But I feel like people are a bit more sensitive to not saying things, or if something is said by mistake, they're very quick to kind of apologize. And I feel like okay, fine. So there is some impact coming up, like and it's 100% there, but like there has been some change.
Stuff. It's like I find that's always interesting because sometimes the question comes up of why do we keep having the conversation about race? Why do we keep having the conversations around gender? And it's really it happens all over the world. I find like being in a province, particularly where like there's not that much diversity, and a lot of these systems have been held up and maintained to continue to keep like certain groups and certain people oppressed. And then a lot of people don't buy into the fact that like sex and then exists, the homophobia and there's grievance and stuff. And so it's taken such a long time to make change, and that's why we keep having to bring the conversation up. Like, I'm this on the I don't even want to talk about color that I'm much because just be like, but yeah, keep having to talk about it because of the situation. And a lot of it is unintentional because when you come from a place of privilege, when you've benefited from systems that benefit people that are privileged in a certain way, you just don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you're falling into spaces thinking that you are being inclusive and accepting, but you have these unconscious biases and mix like that that are affecting people, or people have come in from worlds that they've experienced some of this oppression or some of these as judgments or biases. So they're coming in and they're having that experience what it's like being, continually being a minority, but not being valued or not being seen for what the unique things that we bring to the table. So yeah, I just was like, let me just bring that conversation up. And I was like, oh, I don't sometimes I just don't want to, but not this much in particular because of the like historically communities of the Indigenous, the treatment, and it's different than like Ontario and Alberta, all those places, like because of just the jobs history. Or so because sometimes I find it's even more apparent here, like the gap. Yeah, like it's just so much more obvious here. You and I just and sometimes I think that like sometimes we come from a way like that's not like viewed it. I know we sometimes come with like with a certain sense of privilege in the fact that like you were seen as a majority. Yeah, so like certain things exist like tribalism,
Yes,
like
yes.
sex, phasmophobia, classism,
Oh yeah.
but like racism per se, like we just run aware that it's not like you're sitting at a table having these conversations until you're out in the world and you're like, oh, like was that a thing? Is that like was that something or like what's actually going on?
Yeah.
So it's yes, like, just having these conversations uh, and just like being honest and taking up as much space as we can.
Yeah.
And whatever we do.
That's one of the most important things. I actually just reaffirmed myself recently with my aunt who I told you was around this past weekend.
Yeah.
We were having conversations around she and her family are just like they moved to Canada in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Like when it was even less diverse, right? Directly from Kenya, like full Kenyan family. Everyone. So being here for 30 years, she's gone through the whole motion of before even DI was a thing. And yeah, now it being a thing. And the one thing that stood out for me is that it all starts with you. So being able to, first of all, believe strongly and firmly that you deserve to be in the space that you are in. Yeah. Number one, like just as the way you are, yeah, you did not in a way that you have to change yourself, just the way you are, the way you are created. Yeah. I'm spiritual. I believe in God. So I believe that like is we were put on this earth for a purpose. And your purpose is very specific to you. Even if you're 7 point something billion, yeah, we're the only person who can do what you were meant to do here. So, right. So being able to believe in that fully and occupy that space 100% is like, I think the first trick that you haven't had. Like it has to come a lot into it. Easier said than done, right? Because we also deal with different experiences and different trauma that make us who we are. But like being able to kind of have that coach, first of all, as a person, then as we go out there in the world and then occupy that space, then of course there's the systemic stuff that's where the conversations come in. Right? Because then how you cannot solve by yourself.
Right.
But like that's where the systemic changes and discussions and conversations come up so that we can solve that. Yeah. But it really starts with like take in that space if you feel like you deserve to be there. Yeah. Be there. Yeah. Own it. Yeah. You are enough just the way you are. Yeah. And the way you want to change your dynamic human being also, if tomorrow you decide that this is the new person I want to be, you are entitled to be that. 100%. Once we can internalize that fully, and as I'm saying this, I'm also like telling myself so I could keep reminding myself. I'm like, I'm gonna apply that. Yes. And might sound something that, it just comes automatically. Yes. But once we kind of do that, then nothing like bullets, yes, it just like phase three, nothing will kind of like hit or stick. You make it, but it will not stick. Because you're able to kind of dust it off. Yeah, and keep going.
It's 100% true. Like trying to release the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And all have it, all the early stuff. Yeah. But like we chatted about earlier, just really authentic you. There are all these spaces. And even if you are the only one that looks like you in these spaces, knowing that you bring something to the table. And your energy is needed in these spaces, and your perspectives and your perceptions are needed at this table. At this table, yeah, spaces this because you are supposed to be there, and you are supposed to be there. And I've noticed that sometimes in my day job because I work in government and I'm in offices. So yeah, I also have a million like black women in the eyes. So yeah. But you can see like sometimes on the calls I just sometimes it's like y'all are like girl I'm like y'all are just packing this burqa. Like I'll just say stuff like that is so different than what my colleagues would say. Yeah, like it's just me being me in the space. And I feel like I'm just being authentically who I am. I still deserve it because I'm also bringing like a unique lens, a unique perspective, or like going in like heightened folks, like whatever is authentic to me, right? Like and I'm glad that we're moving into an age where we're kind of um trying to take down these like expectations and these structures. Like, 10 years ago, I am really go in and like cut somebody or like, say some of the things that I say. It's no, like I wouldn't, but now we're starting to like, be a little more appreciative and understanding and more open. But I'm glad that you keep bringing that up with the authenticity piece.
That's it. And by and large, honestly, most people, most experiences, most interactions are okay. Right? They're not overly exciting. They're not, it's like, like, just like messing, just in between.
Yeah.
So it's only a few that will be excessively bad, right? So if we focus on the little that is excessively bad, right, then you're taking away the energy from everything else, right? The other piece of being authentic to you, though, is being able to, and it just going back, is being able to, first of all, like, deal with your stuff. That's a journey that is very personal, that needs to happen with dealing with trauma, childhood trauma, whatever, dealing with your own perception of yourself, and dealing with how people have made you feel about yourself. That inner work is, I think, the one most important journey anyone can take at any time. I would not have been able to physically get to Halifax, Canada, and stay here if I had not started my inner work journey a few years prior to even thinking I would even leave Kenya, right? And that is kind of like, maybe if there was anything to take from this talk, is everyone should be able to, at some point, it's the most scariest journey also that you'll ever take. I'm still on that journey, but well, at least I started.
Yeah.
And we've had conversations that received that too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people may not have it. And not to, it's scary. It's a scary journey to the once you realize you're not you're the problem, you are the problem. That's, I think, that's so far.
It's hard to accept. Yes, and it's hard to work through.
Yeah, it's the most difficult thing to express. It's the easiest thing to fix because you don't even have to deal with anyone else. You literally don't even have to talk to anyone else. You just like recognize what are some of your demons, what are some of your things, and forgive yourself. That's like the easiest thing. Maybe sometimes when someone does something wrong, you struggle to forgive them because it's like, but forgiving yourself, it's difficult. It's also the easiest thing. You don't even have to like assault anyone else.
Right.
Like you just have to recognize what it is, or what you, and most of the time it's usually what you have accepted for such a long time that you need to forgive. Right?
Yeah.
How long have you know that you were treated negatively in whatever space, either physically, financially, emotionally, someone or a group of people or society or whatever have taken advantage of you in that way. And that's usually the first thing that you have to deal with here is why did I take this so long? Analyze and figure out why. A lot of the time it's not even your fault. It's some past traumatic experience which you can't even do, but you have to be able to, and then forgive yourself. Difficult, but the easiest thing because it has nothing to do with anyone else.
Yeah.
It's literally just you and yourself.
Yeah.
So all the things like very difficult to get there, but once you get there, it's just saying, okay, this is how we got here.
Yeah.
We don't like it. And me is me, you, yourself.
Yeah.
Right? We don't like it here. We want to get out of here. So we have to give ourselves somehow getting ourselves here. Right? Yeah. Then you leave and you drop and you share that there.
That's true.
And then you go on there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then sometimes we think that it's so hard, and it is hard sometimes. There's also could be so silly.
It's the simplest thing. That is true. No one else is involved.
Yeah.
Like, it's not your parents. It's not your kids. It's not your spouse.
Yeah.
Right? It's not your whatever teacher or like whatever or whoever you look up to.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. Sometimes that's difficult to end up with. Because as human beings, we form these social connections and networks, especially with spouses and siblings and children, right?
Yeah.
Then a lot of your life is wrapped up around them, and it's so not easy process. But at the end of the day, like that unwrapping and just being in isolation. And for me, that moment came during COVID, right? Because now COVID, it's silent. No partying, no work, no, it's literally just you in the house. So that silence came with a lot of okay, so what happened? So in a way, COVID actually saved and changed my life. The pandemic situation, not that it's like that. No, that's a pandemic, but that being able to come down. Because also it was kind of forced into if you can kind of try and make it in, right? But just being able to go through all that process, forgive yourself. Okay, it's honestly, at the end of the day, I didn't have to talk to anyone. I didn't have to tell anyone. I didn't have to be like, I've forgiven myself or I forgive you or whatever. So once you start first of all, forgive yourself for all the things accept that you know or else, then you can now go out and decide this person has not been good to me. Exactly. And I didn't like it. It would be much easier to then cut those ties if need be, or confront them if need be, or forgive them also if need be. And then just move. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one who has the code and key to know exactly what you need at any.
Well, because I mean, it's difficult to acknowledge and accept, how am I enabling this hurt them experiencing? How am I enabling this situation? How am I continuing to enable these cycles? But the things that I hate the most, that I wish I could remove from my life, the feelings or the conversations or the people, then how am I enabling it? Because I am enabling it. Because if it's continuing, that I do have some ownership in it.
Yes.
And I think once we understand that, it's so hard to accept because it's so much easier to blame the other person and say they're doing this to me, they're doing, being a victim, because we find it's safe to do that. It's comforting of men, and it takes the pressure out of self-preservation ability. Exactly. The self-preservation. But it's also so empowering on the other side to be like, I am also enabling. And now I have the power to cut it off. And I have the power to remove myself or to change the situation. That doesn't have as much to do with the other as it does with yourself.
And the only one thing can actually change is yourself.
The kind of
aspect you have control over is that aspect. So even if it's a two-way, because in any interaction, in anything, I'd say it's your at least 50% responsible. For either the success or failure of any interaction. Right. And then, but you are 100% in charge of your 50%. Okay. You have kids, for example, right? So from day one, they kind of export their heads, right? So you're doing pretty much everything for them. So you're everything. But as kind of they grow, now they're running around. So there's a detachment. So even in that relationship of mother and child, again, speaking of it's not you that the it keeps happening 1% every day, kind of as we go. And you have less and less control over what's even they're able to do. So day one, you're supporting the head, you're doing everything. Then all of a sudden they're able to support the head and they're like, okay, look at you, doing all that. So you have in that relationship where you can barely control 100% of it 100% of the time. Now imagine two adult relationships. You can barely, you have zero stake in what this person says or does or feels or wants. But you have 100. You feel one. And that's the 100% that we should always pour into and work on and improve and encourage, so that you come fully as yourself to then hopefully get another fully 50%. And then you have now a good kind of interaction.
It's always it's so true, and I'm grateful that you brought it up because it's also really empowering. If we feel stuck, if we feel in cycles, if we feel like someone still has power all the time, and we do had a little chat before using that on the podcast. So all of them applying right now, and I'm why not let this person just continue to affect my energy. And it's because I'm allowing it, I'm enabling it. Like I know what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. And I keep putting myself in the same situation. Like once once I do feel empowered to take control of the situation, it will no longer be a situation. And there's things that I need to do. And then there's definitely, and it's a journey because we're, you know, we do this and we remove ourselves and sometimes we fall back, sometimes we fall back and forth, but and it's a journey and it's a process. I think that awareness is so empowering. Like I don't have to do that. I don't have to continue to experience this type of hurt. There's other hurts that I realize could still have, but not like this is that I can also. So that was really beautiful for sure. And it applies in parenthood too, because we control our kids and we raise them, and once they're, you know, Mara's age, or D 14, now he's making for himself, and I have to approach parenthood different, and like I can be there as a support, but I need to, he's his own person, Christy's his own person, and we all are our own people, even two adults. Like I can't control the partner, friend, anything, but I can over a ball worker, I would a parent. Thank you. The family member, yes. So what I can do is for myself, and that can change. And then also how people will treat you, how you, if they will come at you, how they like in your space. Yeah. So if you're not taking care of yourself, it's very easy begins to, you know, kind of try and validate my stuff with you, right? But if you're like standing firm, strong, someone's gonna come at you with stuff, right? Yeah, because they're also everyone is dealing with everything. So it's like I protect myself. I understand you're dealing with stuff, yeah, and I maybe want to what, but then like unless you then come in like state by state, you know, that kind of respect and those things about. This is an AJ. Sorry for that. That is so many words. Just to wrap this up, like we could talk for hours. Yeah, the funny parts. I'm telling you that I know. What is one thing, you know, given your journeys, given the things I've experienced, things I've learned in life, like what's something that you learned at either in general or about yourself? Like, what's one thing that you learned in your journey so far? That I will always be on my side. Like I will always have my best interest at heart. And my best interest at heart will then translate automatically to the best interest of what the people are important in my life, what's important in career or whatever, and what I want to do in the society, right? Like I've been, weirdly enough, I've always been very confident and outgoing, but I had major self-esteem issues and major like self-worth and body image issues, right? Not that they're completely gone, but the one thing I've learned about is that in whatever situation, I will always kind of come back and have my back. And that's what started me the driving force, keep pushing me. Me, the people who got into my life, the thing that's important to my life, like my work, and also give back to society in that order kind of thing. I'm gonna have to bring you back on this show. Okay, I have to do another full conversation because I know there was so much that I wanted to talk about it. Yeah, and dive into it. And I know you're leaving to Alberta really soon, but we'll figure it out. I'll have you over to Alberta, and we can have this on Alberta. Next time, hell yeah! On the part two. But I was in Alberta. That would be fun. Oh yeah, I would love that. I've loved that. And so thank you for your insights. Just like it's not his husband also. I love you, maybe I love you too. I love you up there. And if folks want to get in touch with you or follow your page, or just know that you're up to there, how can folks get in touch with you?
So you can get in touch by my Instagram page. It's FM Orthopod on Instagram. I think I'm most active there.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Makena Mbogori on Facebook or LinkedIn. Yeah. And on email as well as femorthopod@gmail.
I love your Instagram.
Yeah.
Fem Orthopod, right?
So it's just bringing the female and feminine presence into a space that has been traditionally, male, masculine.
Yeah.
And just being able to balance the two energies, because the masculine energy definitely gets me to work, to do the work that I need to do, to have form and to excel.
Yeah.
So then intertwining that energy that comes with the empathy and the communication with patients and everything, put all that together. That's it. To follow. Right, well, let's try to follow.
Maybe there is an Orthopod podcast. Yes, use so much. Use so much that.
Thank you.
Just take it and learn about it. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. For folks, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Blue Room Podcast. We are on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube. So please check us out and let us know what you thought of this episode. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll be back soon.